Good evening, everybody. This is Ben Jonas for TOLN Times. So glad that you could tune in this evening. I am really enjoying the late night live broadcasts, and I thought that tonight would be a good night to share some things with you about watching and why watching and watchmen and watchwomen, why we're all on high alert. And there's, I think, a very good reason why that's the case. So first of all, let me just check in with the Rapture head crew because I could see that there's a lot of enthusiastic brothers and sisters in the Lord, even though it's 10:20 Eastern Standard Time. And most of these fine individuals should be sound asleep by now. Some of them should be in sleep to the point where they're in REM stage. They should be that well into their time of sleep. But the problem is that there's a lot of people watching. Maybe they don't want to be asleep when the Lord returns. You ever think of that? So, Shell Bell, Rhonda Eaton, Ben Odell, Sarah D, Casey, Amy Wood, David JP, Daniel Baldwin. I'm going to start calling this crew the usual suspects. Alicia Khan, Lois Lacio, Sarah D, Casey, in a raptosecond, Daniel Baldwin, Tara, Rachel Rosendo, Matt Short, Rima Hardy, Chad D, Alicia Khan, Freedom Fighters, Wackadoodle Samoan. How did you get through security? You got to watch out, Wack. We got moderators keeping a close eye on you tonight. Samuel Ojija, Sulin Bowers, Amy Nolan, Angela Lee, Rapture Saint. How you doing, Eric? Always good to see you. Wayne M. Cello 1995 in a raptosecond. Wes Romans, Harpazzo Raptura, Lisa Khan, Carrie Bird, Ren Moon, Rebecca S., Chad D., Frank Rustico, Aqua Point, John Thormalen. John Thurmalen says, getting paid to watch right now, does that make me a professional watchman? Yes, it does. I don't know who's paying you to watch, but that makes you a professional watchman. Sure does. Jay Steele 650, Joshua David, Derek and Aubriel. Hi, Aubriel. How are you? She's one of our moderators. Daily Otacino. Yeah. Wackadoodle's cracking up because he knows that he's been called out. Nancy Anderson, welcome everybody. If I didn't call your name, that doesn't mean I don't love you. It just means I don't want people to start signing off because we're just calling names out. So anyways, seriously, I am so blessed. This channel has been such a major blessing to me because you guys encourage me. Listen, I'm not impervious to getting discouraged in waiting and watching. So I need you guys to pray and encourage me, keep me going. I'll try to keep you guys going. I believe that this is the straightaway towards the finish line. It might not feel like it's the straightaway because we've been running for such a long time, but we're very close. And I know that might sound redundant, but you know what? I believe it's so true. Now, I don't know how long you guys have been watching and waiting, but I find extreme significance from 2017 to current day. I believe that this is a highly significant period of time from 2017 to current day. I'm not going to go into all the details, but one of the things I want to bring out tonight is why are watchmen on high alert, because other fellow Christians, other fellow believers may say, "What's wrong with you people? Why are you still watching? Jesus hasn't come back. We're in 2021 and there's no rapture. What are you guys doing?" And this is what I would like to talk about. And when I say watchmen and watchwomen, I'm not talking about just watchmen and watchwomen who happen to have a YouTube channel. I'm talking about all you good folks, whether you have a YouTube channel or not, or you're just a Bible believing, prophecy watching, I want Jesus to come home, come get us and bring us home today, believer. You're watching. You qualify. So, what I would like to share with you is this. I'm speaking for myself, but I also believe I'm speaking for many of you. These are the reasons why I am on high alert. There is a situation going on in the world. It's called the Middle East. And there's two major things that are going on in the Middle East that should have our antennae up and fully alert. The two things are this. One is the Abrahamic Accords, which has to do with peace and safety, peace and security, with Israel normalizing, making peace with its neighbors, its Arab nations that surrounding her. Now, the one thing I'd like to bring to the forefront is that historically in the Bible, when Israel has depended on its pagan neighbors, nations, and I'm not referring to the current Arab nations, I'm talking about nations in the past whose God was not Yahweh. And they looked to their neighbors for protection and to make a league with them. The results were not good. Let's just put it that way. The results were not good. God is a jealous God. And whether it be the nation of Israel or it be his children, God does not want us or Israel to go to anyone else except for him for their needs to be met. And so what's going on with Israel right now? Well, the past year has been super duper significant because Israel is shaking hands as fast as they can and signing papers to have peace and normalcy with their neighbors. And I'm sorry, but I think there's an issue with that. I mean, there's a warning in Thessalonians about when they say peace and safety. And so that's being trumpeted and said right now very much. And so that is one reason why I'm in high alert. I think that the Abrahamic Accords is the beginning stages of the Daniel 9 covenant with many. So just to have a quick poll here, yes means I do agree that the Abraham Accords are at least the beginning stage of the covenant with many as mentioned in Daniel 9. Say yes if you believe this and say no if you disagree. Okay, I'm seeing some yeses coming in. Mostly yeses. Okay. So far, everyone thinks that this is the case. Wow. This is like I don't think I've seen one no yet. All right. So it seems like we're all on the same wavelength. Now, if that's the case, if we're right here, if that's the case, should that not put us in high alert? Because if you have the beginning stage of the very thing that triggers the clock ticking for Daniel's 70th week, think about this, what we're saying here. Think about what we're saying here. If the very thing that starts Daniel's 70th week from commencing, the confirmation or the confirming of the covenant with many, the beginning stages is already here. That should put us on alert. Now, keep in mind, technically speaking, it is possible for there to be this in place and for there to be a gap between these newly signed accords and when the man of perdition comes on the scene, tweaks things a little bit, and makes it into a 7-year covenant. But the way things are in the world today, I don't think that's going to be too much longer in the future. Now, think about this. What would cause the Antichrist and Israel and whomever and the many to want to tweak or confirm or make stronger? And I think if you look at the translation in the Hebrew, because this is in the book of Daniel, to confirm is to make stronger. So it's like you have something that's already established, and then you make some adjustments, you make it better, and then you confirm it, you establish it. So if I have, let's say, a bowl of ice cream, and I go into the kitchen and put M&Ms on it, some sprinkles, some whipped cream, and a cherry on top, I just made it better. Okay? But the very fact that I already had the bowl of ice cream, and you see me getting up and heading to the kitchen, you probably will say, Dad or Bro Chooch or whomever, he's gonna make this wonderful treat better. But see, you can't make something better unless it's there, if that makes sense. If I didn't have a bowl of ice cream and I went over to the kitchen and just opened my trap and started shaking a bag of M&Ms down my throat, you would just say he's a gluttonous guy for M&Ms. This is probably an awful example, but you get the idea. The covenant is there. And so something needs to be confirmed. A peace agreement, a covenant needs to be confirmed. So that's why I'm on high alert for that. So that's not the only reason why I'm on high alert, because the other reason why I'm on high alert is because of Ezekiel 38 and 39. If you stop and think about this, this is a prophecy that has been mentioned in Ezekiel 38, 39, and it hasn't been fulfilled yet. And this is an end time, this is a prophecy for the end times. Now, there's debate on whether it'll be in the beginning of the tribulation or it's sometime during the tribulation. Some people say it's going to be at the end of the millennial reign. But here's the thing, is that the nations that are foretold in Ezekiel 38 and 39 are in place, right where they need to be. Is that coincidence? To me, that's alarming that that's the case. Gog and Magog. So this is the first time that Iran, or Iran, however you want to pronounce it. I grew up saying Iran. Now that a lot of people pronounce it Iran, is in alliance for the first time ever with Russia. That's kind of mind-blowing. And you have them positioned in Syria. And you also have Turkey in the mix. Turkey, Russia, Iran, and Syria. And they're going to come down swiftly. And that prophecy can literally be fulfilled in a day. It could happen in a day, it could be fulfilled in a day, or be fulfilled in a handful of days. So I just gave you two reasons why I'm on high alert. There's accords going on between Israel and their surrounding nations like never before. And you have the nations, the alliance of Ezekiel 38-39 in place. Armies are ready, and they could invade anytime. And yes, I believe Putin is Gog, and Russia is Magog. So, knowing all that, we have to consider that that is a huge marker that we are right at the end times. Now, some people will say, well, the weapons need to be burnt for 7 years. And so how can the Ezekiel 38-39 war happen during or after the rapture if you need 7 years? Because won't that run into the millennial reign? Well, where does it say that Israel can't continue to burn weapons into the millennial reign? You know, I believe some people think that when the millennial reign begins, that Jesus is going to, and he can, Jesus spoke the worlds into existence. Some people believe that Jesus is going to maybe clap his hands and the world's going to instantly become renewed, cleaned, and all set. But what if Jesus has it that we're involved and the human subjects are involved in working on cleaning up the mess? Is that a possibility? If that's a possibility, then Israel could be burning weapons right into the beginning of the millennial reign. So that's just a thought. So I don't want to dismiss the idea like, well, they have to burn weapons for 7 years. So we're waiting on Ezekiel 38 and 39, and then the rapture happens. Well, the problem is that you're taking away the possibility of imminency if you're saying that. Because then you're saying we're not waiting for the rapture, we're waiting for Ezekiel 38-39. Some people might say, we got to wait for Isaiah 17 to be fulfilled. Why? Why can't Isaiah 17 be fulfilled at or after the rapture? And that's another reason why I'm on high alert, is because Damascus, as mentioned in Isaiah 17, is going to be a ruinous heap. It's going to be an unlivable place. Now, Damascus right now is in shambles in some areas, but it doesn't fit or fulfill the definition of a ruinous heap. It would have to pretty much be bombarded and laid waste. Israel themselves might be the one who just blows Damascus to smithereens. But you could see that That prophecy in Isaiah 17 is another prophecy that could be fulfilled in a day or two, or a week or so. And believe me, Israel and however the Lord decides to allow this to happen, or he might be the one possibly to be involved in this, that could be, another fulfillment. Psalm 83 is another debatable situation. Does Psalm 83 need to happen? Some people believe Psalm 83 needs to happen, and then Psalm 38, 39 need to happen, and then the rapture needs to happen. Well, first of all, that's a debatable one. Some people think that Psalm 83 was fulfilled in the Six-Day War. Some people believe that Psalm 83 is just simply a prayer. It's not a literal fulfillment. It's just a prayer. Others believe that it is fulfilled at Armageddon. So the thing is this, however you want to try to figure out Psalm 83, I don't believe that we have to wait for Psalm 83 to happen or be fulfilled, if you think it hasn't been fulfilled, for the rapture to happen. Okay? So those are 3 or 4 examples of why we should be on high alert. Another reason to be on high alert is that the Temple Institute, the organization that is established in Israel, they want to rebuild the temple. And there hasn't been talk about rebuilding the temple to this fever pitch ever since going back to Old Testament times, when the temple was destroyed and rebuilt back then. So the temple was destroyed in 70 AD, and here we are in 2021, and we've heard more about the temple being rebuilt, so much more now than ever before. The Temple Institute, they have things ready. They have the priests identified and trained. They have the priestly garments. When allowed, they're already doing sacrifices on an altar on the Temple Mount. They have all the instruments of the temple, and they could probably put the temple up in 3 to 6 months. No problem. They even have a candidate for the temple area and for the people to be purified by the red heifer. Now, think about this. Not only do they want to build the temple, but they actually have a qualifying red heifer. Now, don't you think that that's pretty remarkable? And red heifers expire. I think this particular red heifer may become disqualified because there's a point in time when a red heifer becomes a cow, right? Just like a teenager becomes an adult. So the red heifer right now, I believe, is qualified to be sacrificed from now till probably fall of 2021, and after that might be in trouble. And I highly doubt that the Temple Institute that wants this to happen is going to allow this candidate to expire. They've been waiting too long for this. So those are, now we're up to good 5, 6, 7 reasons why we should be on high alert. And there's more, folks, right? The parable of the fig tree, if you interpret it the way that a lot of watchmen and watchwomen interpret it, the fig tree generation, those who were born in 1948, the nation that was born in 1948, coupled with Psalm 90, verse 10, takes us to the last possible moments before this generation will go past the 80-year mark. Do you realize that Israel will be in the land 73 years in a few months from now? May 14th, 2021, they turn 73. Folks, it's simple math. 73 plus 7 is 80. According to the Olivet Discourse, when Jesus said all these things must be fulfilled before this generation passes away, speaks of the tribulation period. So if Israel's going to be 73 years old from May 14th, 2021 to May 13th, 2022, because I'm going by, they're still officially 73 years old during that time. My understanding is that the tribulation period has to happen by no later than May 13th, has to kick off May 13th, 2022. And I don't think we're going to go there that far. But talking about the Rapture Bang Zone, I mean, that's screaming that we're running out of time for at least the parable of the fig tree to be interpreted in that fashion. And I'm sorry, guys, but I think that's the best way to interpret the parable of the fig tree. I know that Pastor Andy Woods wouldn't agree with that. Maybe some of you don't agree with that. But if we're still here on May 14th, 2022, I'm going to do two things. I might come on here if I'm allowed to and apologize for misinterpreting the parable of the fig tree, because obviously on May 14th, 2022, you can't squeeze 80 years in there anymore. And number two, to publicly humiliate myself for misinterpreting the parable of the fig tree, I'm going to have a survey on the community section. You could pick your pie of choice, a cream pie of choice. You could pick coconut cream, banana cream, coconut cream, and I will squish a cream pie in my face right on live YouTube to publicly humiliate myself. So those are the two. You saved this video, and if we're still here, April, Mayish 2022, remind me. I will do that to just publicly humiliate myself for causing you guys undue excitement. Now, the other thing is, so we got that. We got time's running out. The other thing that we have is things that have happened in the cosmos. I don't know about you, but, and I forget what verse it is in Genesis, but it talks about that the Moedim is set there for signs and for seasons, right? So we've had the tetrad, blood moon tetrad on 2014 into 2015, and they landed all on feast days. And then in 2017, we had the Great American Solar Eclipse that cut through the United States of America from southwest and exited, no, I'm sorry, northwest, and came down and exited southeast. And then in 2024, it's going to come in southwest and exit northeast to make a nice X over this lovely country that's obviously turned its back on God. And the first time it cut through America, it went through 7 Salems. And I believe Salem means peace. And you all think of Jerusalem, right? In America, Salem, we have the connotation in Massachusetts, at least. Massachusetts, Salem, Massachusetts, noted for the witches and witch hunting, right? And what kind of message was God trying to convey to the world and to America, the most significant Gentile nation on earth, uh, with a solar eclipse? Now, the moon speaks of Israel, right? Israel goes by a lunar calendar. We go by a solar calendar. Usually, solar eclipses speak of judgment coming for the Gentiles, but the moon, when there's an issue with the moon, that speaks more of judgment to Israel. Um, to me, the Great American Solar Eclipse is highly significant. And then you have, what was it, 30 days later or 33 days later, the Revelation 12 sign. Now, something embarrassing happened to me on the Revelation 12 sign on that day. I'm not going to get into it, but it had to do with eating too much pizza and not getting to the bathroom in time. So sorry to be disgusting. Guys, listen, it was a bad day for me. It was a humiliating day for me. September 23rd, 2017. But it changed me in that it, first of all, changed me in a couple ways. One is that it taught me, I learned, not that I date set it. I didn't date set, but I would have, I really felt so super strongly that the rapture could have happened that day. And the Lord taught me, just, be careful. And I've been very careful since then. I've said there's been high watch days, and I've said, this is a real time to be watching, but I've never pounded the desk with my shoe saying this day is the day. Okay? So when the Revelation 12 sign happened, I believe that that was of God, and a very significant, because if you look at Revelation 1, 2, 3, and 4, you have the story of a woman in labor, that's Israel, with a child. I believe the child is the church. And when the child's about to be born, the dragon, the devil, is ready to devour that child, and that baby is snatched, harpazoed, into heaven. And then the woman that remains, Israel, has to flee into the wilderness. So that is like a beautiful picture that happened in the cosmos in 2016 into 2017, because Jupiter was going back and forth in Virgo's belly for 9 months, the time of gestation. In fact, there was I don't know what the comet's name was, but there was a comet that actually came and passed through into Virgo, actually fertilizing. There was that the fertilizing comet, and then Jupiter enters in there and retrogrades back and forth for 9 months, and then is born with, the the crown of stars and the moon at her feet and clothed in the sun. I mean, guys, what are the, and it's just like, Scotty Clark, thank you for seeing this. Thank you for following this. Thank you for showing this. And then I'm heartbroken because, one, we're still here after that sign. And number two is, Scotty Clark, what's going on, buddy? Come back. So it was tough. It was tough. All right. Then you go forward and you still got stuff happening in the celestial bodies. I mean, in 2021, we've had the Great Conjunction, We've had the Star of Bethlehem, whatever you want to call it. Something special happened on December 21st, 2020. And we had a wolf moon, we had a strawberry moon. I don't know if that means anything. Strawberry moon. But no doubt about it is that I would say from 2014 to current day that we've had some really interesting, unique signs in the heavens occur. So I want to ask the crowd here, do you guys believe that what has occurred from 2014 to current, are those signs in the heavens significant? Yes or no? Please be, or say, I don't know. If you don't know, say, I don't know. Because I don't want you to just because you don't think that they're significant doesn't mean that um, all the other stuff that we just mentioned is insignificant. You might say all the stuff. I embrace all the stuff in the Middle East. I embrace all this, the parable of the fig tree. But okay, it seems like most of you, not everybody, but the majority of you believe that those were significant signs from the Lord, and obviously serving as warnings, wake-up calls. Now, how many people here, if you said what I just said to a fellow churchgoer, a fellow saved churchgoer who's even on fire for God, if you just said what I said about the tetrads, blood moon, Revelation 12 sign, that you would be looked at as if you were an alien visiting from the planet Zik. Would you be able to share this with a fellow believer at church and share this and think you're absolutely nuts, wacko, lost your brains? Or they'll say, you're into horoscopes, dude? You know what's interesting is that, like I said, Satan takes everything that God has meant for good and tries to corrupt it. So the Lord put the gospel in the stars, and Satan comes in and perverts it into astrology, right? I get astronomy and astrology. One's okay, one's not okay. I think astrology's bad. Am I right with that? Astronomy's cool, astronomy's good, astrology's bad. This is not horoscopes. This is, God has put these things in the heavens, right? The Pleiades and the Orion, right? These are mentioned in Job and in other books, right? Astronomy is science, first science, okay. Astrology is horoscopes, okay. Thank you guys for keeping me on the straight. Okay, astrology bad, astronomy science, correct? Good. So when the Lord is communicating through the celestial bodies that he has placed in motion, I mean, I believe that the Lord has placed everything in motion. And that when a planet is at a certain place, God had planned it that way. I don't believe Satan has power over the position of the sun, the position of the moon, or the planets or the stars. Satan could try to promote worship of the sun and stuff like that, but he can't produce a Revelation 12 sign. There's no way. He doesn't have that power. That's God's creation. Remember, God named all the stars. Right? Remember, he was when Jesus died, Was not the sun darkened? So that's all I'm saying, is that I think that that's significant. All right, going on. We have, and this is continuing on why I feel we need to be on high watch and full alert, is that we have, well, let's start with this guy, the Pope. Now, I say predicted, maybe I said it predicted, I'm not sure. When there was stuff in the paper that said the Pope's going to resign after Christmas, I said, no, he's not. I believe he's not going to, because this guy fits the bill to be the false prophet. Now, I don't know about you. I've been alive. I was born and raised Catholic, and I left the Catholic Church at shortly after I was truly saved. And we had a Pope John Paul II. We had, 3 or 4 different popes. And this Pope here he takes the cake. Let's put it that way. This guy is a liberal, planet hugging, weather concerned, all roads lead to the same place. I mean, whatever floats your boat, Pope. And I'm sorry, but the Pope, Grand Poobah, whatever you want to call him, teaches false doctrine and falsehoods more than I've ever seen. And I believe, and now he's, this Chrislam thing and trying to get all these religions together to one universal religion. I'm sorry, folks, but this is false prophet stuff. So he's either doing a really, 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 really great job of setting the table for the false prophet, or he's the false prophet. I'm going with that. He's the false prophet. And if he's the false prophet, and I believe he's 83 years old, and the false prophet has to be alive from the beginning to the end of the tribulation period. So if Pope Francis is the Antichrist, if Pope Francis is the false prophet, he has to live to be 90 or 91. Now, Satan might give him a little dash of salt and pepper to keep sharp during that 7-year period of time. But think about this. If Pope Francis is the false prophet, and I know you guys have your theories and guesses of who the Antichrist might be, but when you look at Pope Francis, you say, this guy has been spoken of for about 2,000 years, and I'm seeing who he is with my own eyes. This guy's going to be, if this guy's the false prophet, he's going to be tossed into the lake of fire in a little over 7 years from now. I mean, that's quite sobering. I mean, I'll admit, I looked at Obama and other candidates and wondered, is this the man of perdition? Is this the Antichrist? Some people believe that when it says he'll be revealed, I don't think that means that he's not on the scene right now. I think it just means that when the restrainer is removed, then he'll be fully revealed. His position, his authority, his power. Okay? Now, Jim Collins says the Pope turned 84 on December 17th. All right, so he'll be 91. All right. I still think he could have his be in power and be lucid and be able to do what he needs to do during the 7 years, even at that age. Begin because both the false prophet and the antichrist are going to be demonically charged, right? There is a spirit of antichrist, and it's already in the world right now. Okay, so that's another reason why to be on high alert. The other reason is you have because of that, you have we're working towards a new world order, one world system, globalism, with one currency, uh, identity, something to identify everybody with a chip, either in the hand or the forehead, and just a system of complete control of one currency, a globalist system, and other restrictions that have to do with travel, right? These are all going to be in play during the um, 7-year period. I also believe that the world economy is ripe for a major collapse. I think it's an absolute joke that the stock market is at all-time record highs. Now, a healthy stock market has it has bull markets and it has bear markets. It's been the way since the stock market has been in place. It's expected that there's going to be times when the stock market rises, but then there's crashes, and then it recovers. But what's been going on since the housing crisis, the stock market, which is corrupt and it's rigged. And if you don't think it's corrupt and rigged, then your head's in the sand. The stock market has been going up, 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 up. We're in the middle of a plague. People are losing their jobs in small businesses. People are quarantined, told not to leave their homes, and the stock market's at record high. And the central banks just photocopy money, print more money, and just here you go. Quantitative easing. And something's got to give, folks. Something's got to give. And do you trust the central bankers? Do you think that they have your best interest in mind? When you think about it's the horseman, is it the black horseman where there's hyperinflation, where the price of a loaf of bread is pretty much going to be a day's wage. So that's going to come in the tribulation period. So when the bubble bursts, and the US dollar is not worth the paper it was printed on, there has to be a new world order. And if you see what's been going on in the United States, and it'd be very interesting what happens from now. Tomorrow's supposed to be a highly significant day. I'd be very surprised if Trump gets in. But can you picture what this country will be like with Biden at the helm? And with if the House, if the Senate and the Congress are both Democratic, it's this country's in bad shape. United States is in very bad shape. And I think that's another reason why we should be alert, because the United States, unless the United States is Babylon the Great, the United States is not really mentioned in prophetic scripture. It doesn't seem like they're an important player in the end times. Now, if you believe they're Babylon the Great, which some people do, I think Brother Barry Scarborough believes that the United States is Babylon the Great economically, and Babylon the Great religiously is, I believe Catholic Church or Catholic Church combined with Islam. I don't know. But regardless, if the United States is Babylon the Great or just the United States, the insignificant, not mentioned country in prophetic scripture, the fate is not good for this country at all. I live in the United States, by the way. So that's another reason why to be on high alert. The other reason to be on high alert is the talk and mention of aliens lately. All right. If you look at that, that I believe might be the making of the excuse, the lie, and the deception of why millions of people have disappeared. I posted some stuff on the community page. In the past year, we've had the Pentagon release footage of UFOs. We have had the head of the space program in Israel say that they've made contact. There's a galactic federation, and humanity is not ready for this. We have, I think by June, they have to do some sort of UFO disclosure. And then there was something that happened late 2020 where they said they received a radio signal from the next closest galaxy to ours. So everything's starting to work towards this big reveal. And then you got President Trump, who put in our fourth or fifth branch of the military, like the space defense program or something. Now, all this stuff seems so bizarre, but this is the new reality. So my gander and guess is that in 2021, the subject of extraterrestrials, UFOs, we made contact, is going to be big news. It's going to be very significant. Now, I think that, we'll be gone when all this comes to a head. But don't you see, do you believe that the unbelieving world is going to take the bait, hook, line, and sinker, that aliens abducted the ones that need to be re-educated, or the ones who are working against the evolution of man, or whatever? Do you believe that that's going to be the explanation of why we vanished? Yes, that's going to be the explanation, or no, there's going to come up with some other cockamamie excuse. Wow. A lot of yeses. Okay. It seems like most of you guys think it's in play. I see a maybe. Wow. I would say 90 to 90, probably over 95% of you are saying yes. All right. Strong. Yeah, Jim Collins, they will get strong delusion. Yes. Do any of you believe that they're going to use Does anybody know sign language? I know a little bit of sign language, the letters, right? Will they use that as an explanation why people have disappeared? That they died in their homes or something like that, and they had to take the contaminated bodies out of the home and bury them so nobody else got contaminated? Okay, that's a possibility. I mean, it could be maybe a combination of it all. I'm not sure. With this new strain or variant that's out, I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. I'm sorry. I almost feel like I'm reading a sci-fi book, but it's the Daily News. But I'm excited. I'm excited because I really believe that the Lord is going to come for us very soon. But at the same time, I, it's sad for this world. And it's sad for lost people. It's very sad to see what's going on. Now, here's the thing. And I don't believe that this is going to happen, but when I talk too much, I start to get a little hoarse or something. But when I see what's going on, I feel sad for lost people of the world, because there are people who are going to sleep tonight who are saying, I think we're going to go back to normal in 2021 or 2022 by the latest. And there are people who are planning their futures and thinking that this is going away. And the sad truth is that Bible, this is going to get worse. Things get worse at the end. They don't get better. There's no eye of the storm here. Matter of fact, it's going to get significantly worse. So if I sound like a wet blanket or I sound like a killjoy, and I say that 2021 has an excellent chance to make 2020 look like a stroll in the park, I really mean that. Because if the tribulation period does occur this year in 2021, then there's no doubt 2020 will be a stroll in the park compared to 2021. Now, if the tribulation period happens 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 30 years from now, then I'm wrong, and you're probably many people here are wrong. And I'll certainly be scratching my head like, what just happened? Everything was setting up. 2017, 2018 got worse. 2019 got worse. 2020 was bizarro world. And now in 2021, everything goes back to normal. And we're happy, right? We get to fill the football stadiums back up. We get to go out to the ballpark. People go to their concerts. Don't have to wear those silly masks anymore. The economy goes through the roof really well. And everything goes back to normal. Isn't that wonderful? And if you take randomly, if you take 1,000 people, out of those 1,000 people, I'm gonna ask you guys this question. Randomly take 1,000 people, whatever country you live in. Randomly take 1,000 people, and out of those 1,000 people, give me a number here. What number would you say believe that we're going back to normal? They believe that we're going to go back to normal within a year or two. So in other words, if you believe half of them believe that, you type 500. How many people, if you took randomly 1,000 people, how many do you believe are going to go back to normal? 900, 900, 900, 500, 900, 872, 800, 800, 900, 750, 990, 700, 99%, 989, 995, 997, 900, 600, 800, 800, 500, 780. I sound like an auctioneer. 750, 900, 998, 900, 700, 666, 854, 750, 900, 600, 759, 95%, 800, 950, 888, 700, 3.14. Isn't that pi? 950, 750, 12, 930. Okay. 911. Okay, let me stop there. It seems like most of you believe that it's a very high percentage. Most of you guys said over 80%, 90%. Wouldn't it have been easier for me to just say what percentage instead of making you go through all that? Wackadoodle Simone says, I can't do simple math. Bro, just get a calculator. You have 9,000 subs and only 500 are watching. Yeah, but you know what? It's okay. I'm glad. Listen, all the subs are loved, but 500, this is awesome. I can't believe you guys are up this late. Yeah, we're going to be wrapping up pretty soon, but I just want to cover a few more bases because I'm giving reasons why we should be on high alert. All right. So we talked about the aliens. And what about all the natural disasters that have happened? And let's go again from 2017 to current. The earthquakes, the volcanoes, the floods, and the fires. Earthquakes, volcanoes, the floods, and the fires. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to see that there have been more severe earthquakes in diverse places. Remember the fires in Australia and all the wildlife that those fires killed, and the people that were affected in Australia? What about the California fires? I mean, do we soon forget about the fires? Somebody mentioned the locusts. Yes, Jessica, believe Jesus is Lord, says the locusts in Africa and the Middle East. What about all the animals dying in mass amounts all around the world? Guys, I mean, hurricanes, that's right. What about the hurricanes? It's been crazy. So all this is coincidence, right? All this is coincidence. Now, I don't know about you guys. I've been watching for a very long time. And I have never seen the natural disasters like they've been in the past 3-4 years. Crazy. So I'm sure I'm forgetting more. So now do you understand why I wrote why watchers are on high alert? I hope I gave you at least 10 good reasons of why we're on high alert. Now, don't get me wrong. 2021 has a possibility of coming and going. But if that's the case, I would expect that the birth pangs continue to intensify. Now, if natural disasters and all the stuff that's been going on still continues through 2021 into 2022, I mean, there still has to be 7 years of tribulation and the pouring out of God's wrath. There comes a point, I think, where what's been going on has to come to an end and the tribulation period has to start. Would you agree? I mean, because birth pangs, if these are birth pangs, they gotta be birth pangs. Birth pangs get worse when the baby is about to come out. Now, I'm only a father of one, but I had the privilege of being with my wife through the whole delivery pregnancy process. And you have no idea how happy I was when that doctor came with a hypodermic needle and shot my wife up. She was, excuse me, she was embarrassing me so much because she was rattling she was in the bed and she was rattling that bar next to her, making all this noise, yelling for a nurse. And I'm like, honey, just relax. And she kept going at it. But when they shot her up with that thing, what a blessing. But here's the thing, it's like there's no if you say hypodermic needle, there's no hypodermic needle for the birth pangs of the tribulation or uh, the beginnings of sorrows leading to the tribulation period. There is no hypodermic needle. I'll probably get X because I said needle. I'll probably be suspended now for a week because I said needle. Epidural. Hypodermic. See how much I know? Okay. So yeah, they gave her epidural. And so the baby came out, and I was a father. This is the cutest baby. And I got to be a dad. And so, but this birth that's coming out soon is the church being born, being snatched into heaven. And this is going to be so awesome. Okay? So, I hope that you guys enjoyed this conversation. I hope it made sense. I hope that you guys have a peaceful night's sleep. I thank you for coming on, and I really hope to see you here, there, or in the air. God bless you all.